Today we are going to study Scott Joplin, and Scott Joplin is a very famous American composer. Scott Joplin was born in 1868 and he died in 1917. So, a different time than we live in now. He grew up knowing that he was destined to play the piano. His mom worked super hard to pay for his piano lessons. She was in domestic housekeeping. Eventually, his teachers offered to give him lessons at no cost, though, because he was super good. Even though Joplin spent his days playing piano and practicing, he didn't get an opportunity to go to school until he was in his late teens. There just weren't any schools around him that were open to him because of his race. Joplin was a Black man, and public education was not an option for him. At that time, schools were separated by race, and we don't do that anymore because that is not okay. Today, public education is open for everybody, but it just wasn't always like that. Eventually, Joplin left home. He was 17. He moved to St. Louis and he started to play piano for money. He eventually earned enough money to go to college, but it took him 11 years to do that. Joplin was always advertised as the entertainer, and he played in places where music was kind of the background or like musical wallpaper. You heard it, but it wasn't there for your main entertainment. But whenever Joplin played, people would actually stop and listen. He published about 50 of his songs, about 50 of his pieces. His most famous one is the Maple Leaf Rag. His pieces have this bouncy, syncopated rhythm. It's known as ragged time. Eventually, it was shortened to ragtime, and it's because it sounded like a ragged piece of cloth. At the time, people told Joplin that his music ruined people's morals and minds and that it was addictive and poisonous for their souls. But Joplin believed in himself and his music despite this little setback, and he continued to compose even in the realm of opera. He burned all of his unfinished works, including the operas and at least one symphony, even though Maple Leaf Rag brought him enough income for his entire life. Joplin died a pauper, and he never had very much success with his future endeavors. Scott Joplin defied the racism of his time composing, performing, and publishing his own works. He made his living as a performing and teaching musician, and he strove to make his way in the music industry of New York. Joplin's music had a revival with the making of the movie The Sting, and he still enjoys popularity to this day. I want you to listen to the Maple Leaf Rag and The Entertainer, and make sure to tell me exactly what you think of Ragtime. It's very, very popular.